This is the Real Footy podcast. Thanks for joining us to tip round 23. My name's Andrew Wu, and joining me today, as usual, is Peter Ryan, who was... are you okay? You've taken a bit of a tumble down the tipping ladder.
I'm flat. I'm looking at this leaderboard. I feel like, what's his name? What's the golfer's name? Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood. It's pathetic performance here. I've gone from on Gleese's heels to two behind him, but I now have four people in between. Gleese leading, and then Callum Jaspin. Who's he? Mark McGowan and John Perrick, who we clearly, that is disappointing to be behind that pair. And then myself. So it's just it's an awkward position to be in because you're sixth, but you're third.
You're
still in the hunt,
my friend.
We had a discussion last night, didn't we, on WhatsApp? Do you actually tip to win now, or do you tip to seriously examine? Like, do you just tip who you think's going to win, or do you take risks in an attempt to win the comp?
Well, you got to tip to win the comp.
Is that what you're going to be doing? That's
Always.
what I'm going. That's what
tip to win.
That's what I'm doing this week. I'm going to try and make up a couple of, one tip at least, and just edge a little bit closer.
Well, the worst you can finish is third last, because our North Melbourne friends aren't going to catch us.
No, our North Melbourne friends who are actually playing footy this week.
Yep,
back with the
AFLW.
AFLW.
Starting their premiership defence.
Defence. I don't know about that.
Well, you've been listening too much to Jake.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, it's a good round of footy this week. It's actually much better than it had been the previous 6 or 7 weeks, although last week was a good round of footy as well. So we're starting to get to, some good games.
Games are starting to hold a bit more consequence, and even some of these seeming dead rubbers, from a tipping point of view, they're actually very important.
Yeah.
I think there's about 5 games which you can't be overly confident tipping, although you'll have no trouble being overly confident.
Oh, no, overly confidence. That's why I'm so disappointed when I miss. The other thing is we all know what the scores are. There's a lot of tipping comps where you don't actually know what the scores are, those blind tipping comps.
Well, we can see what everyone's tipping.
Or silent. Yeah, exactly. So I reckon they're a good idea, although it's a bit hard when they're in the paper, aren't they?
Well, we're a bit handicapped this week because we're going early compared to our colleagues who are waiting a little bit later.
I know. Don't care.
So we're already making excuses.
Correct.
First game of the round, and this is one of those games that probably doesn't really matter too much. Essendon against St Kilda, Marvel Stadium, Friday night, not Thursday night this week. First leg of a Friday night doubleheader, and I know which game I'd be waiting for. Unfortunately, I'm covering this game, so I've got to watch it.
Oh, well, get paid to watch footy. Stop complaining, mate. Jeepers. How hard's your life? Some people have got real jobs, mate.
Nothing wrong with. How much of Essendon and St Kilda are you going to watch?
That's about it. No, well, I'll watch the first quarter, and then I'll flip over to the Fremantle-Brisbane Lions. Okay?
Yeah, there's about an hour. Essendon's got free air for about an hour. Essendon and St Kilda.
Yeah, no, I won't be rushing home to get to the Essendon-St Kilda game or watch it, but. For Essendon supporters, they have hung in there, and they actually...
They were good last week.
The Bombers have tried hard.
So patronising.
No, that is patronising, but it's not meant to be. It's actually... Their effort has been good.
That's even worse.
Oh, well, they were never going to beat Geelong. They got within 20 points with, midway through the third quarter.
They made a game of it, didn't they?
And Geelong looked like they were absolutely too much Jeremy Cameron conscious.
Yeah, overly focused on him.
Yeah, St Kilda should beat Essendon because they've lost Zach Merritt now, Dylan Shield.
Archer May as well.
Archer May, I mean, that is no good. Zach Merritt is a very, very, very good footballer, and losing him makes Essendon probably a bottom 2 team, I reckon, at the moment, given their injuries.
They are. If you did the ladder over the last 7 weeks, they'd be... on the bottom. So
you have to tip St Kilda, even though there's a bit going on down at old Moorabbin.
They're shooting for 4 in a row.
4 in a row, and they're falling apart.
It would have to be one of the most unimpressive streaks going around, though, given that played 1 quarter of footy against the D's, struggled against North Melbourne, and fell over the line against Richmond. So,
well, a win's a win. And I think they have been in reasonable form over an extended period. They certainly haven't been the worst of the hopers.
It's a shame that Zach Merritt's injured, because I think if he was fit, they would give St Kilda a good run for their money this week. But they won't, because their best player's out, and I think the Saints will win.
Have to go for the Saints.
Bet 5 goals for me.
Yep.
Now, the main course for the night, Fremantle against Brisbane Lions. Now.
This gets a bit late, though, these West Australian games.
Oh, jeez, poor Pete. Come on.
No,
You get paid to watch footy and you got to stay up late and you're complaining.
No, well, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that everyone's coming home off a hard week and they're watching Fremantle Brisbane until midnight.
Oh, well, that's early for you anyway. You go to all these pubs to watch bands and you don't go to them watches. Can you play a bit early? It's a
I
bit
don't
late
anymore. I wish I did. I'm tipping Brisbane. I'm tipping a bounce back from Brisbane, even though their lineup is depleted with injury. I know their back line has copped an absolute whacking with Jack Payne and Ainsworth. I assume Starcevich is likely to play.
Not certain, though.
No. Well, if he plays, I think they can...
Was it hamstring tightness?
Yeah.
It's a risk.
It's a risk, but they're at a point now where they need to take risks because they lost that game. Losing to Sydney was a shocker, and the 2 points margin flattered them.
Almost the great steal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was would have been one of the most ridiculous steals ever if they'd done that. If they'd had 15 seconds rather than 4 seconds, I reckon they would have done it.
Well, that's where they needed to kick that goal. Streaming out of the middle. Can't remember who it was. Was it Ashcroft?
Yeah, Ashcroft. Bang.
If he'd kicked the goal, they would have saved another 5 seconds.
No, that's true. But anyway, they weren't good enough, really. They shouldn't have. They didn't deserve to win that game. But their form's been... It's not as bad as it looks in terms of win-loss. They were bad against Gold Coast, but they've been okay for most of the year. They've still got an excellent midfield. Eric Hipwood and Charlie Cameron need to do something.
And Cal Marchee's not going that well either.
No, good big offer from Adelaide, apparently.
So, 3 of their forwards aren't going well, on top of Danaher, who's retired, and Kyle Lohmann, who's injured. So
that's why I'm tipping Fremantle. Having said all that, no, sorry, I'm tipping Brisbane Lions because I actually think they're a team that Fremantle at home are playing reasonable football, but they're not actually putting teams away. They're having to come from behind, and I think if they let Brisbane get a lead into three-quarter time, like they have for several teams in the last 5 or 6 weeks, they will not be able to reel them in.
I agreed with you initially because when I entered my tips, I think I had tipped Brisbane, and then I saw you tip Brisbane. I thought, I might try and pinch one back here.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I went with a pack and tipped Freo, only because what does David King say? Availability is your best ability is availability.
Yeah, he does.
And Freo have it right now. Apart from Hayden Young, they've got pretty much their best team. Brisbane look a bit unsettled. A few too many players out. Their win against Collingwood was impressive, but you see Collingwood's form. Does that take a little bit of shine off that performance? And
Logan Morris is not going to kick 6 goals too often.
No, he can't do that every week.
Times,
There's just too many players are out of form for Brisbane, especially in their forward line, and their back line's undermanned. And I don't think injuries isn't something that they have had to deal with a lot over the last few years. I mean, they managed to cover their spate of ACL injuries last year, but Lohmann, McKenna, Lockie Neal, Payne, Starcevich, Ainsworth, Coleman, they'd all be guys who you'd think would be in their best team.
Well, Coleman hasn't been around forever.
No, but still, he's a very good player. There's a lot of players out. Fremantle fit team, won 11 of 12, and I think this will be a test for them. I think they'll get up for it. It's a big test of their maturity in terms of stakes are so high for them now.
Yeah.
They have to win, don't they? Same with Brisbane.
Yeah.
So
no, it's Fremantle
at home.
Fremantle,
few too many. But it's a 50-50 game.
The prancing pony, you'd be a fan of that. You're a bit of a prancing pony. You'd be a fan of Patrick Voss, wouldn't you?
I don't mind the way he plays.
I don't watch.
I don't like the carry on.
Carry on's terrible, but it's good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I prefer the players that really annoy you from opposition teams are. Yeah, you might think they're a little bit dirty, but you love having them as a teammate. Yeah. But I think if you're a teammate of Patrick Voss, come on, just make it a bit more about the team than about yourself.
Possibly, but while he's playing well, it doesn't matter. And it does actually give them a bit of a spark that they need because they can be a bit vanilla. Luke Jackson is an absolute talent.
He's a star, isn't he?
Yeah.
Love the way he plays.
And obviously Caleb Sarong and Andrew Brayshaw, but I reckon the Lions can match him in that area, even though they've missed Oscar McInerney.
Yeah, Lockie Neal's a big out though. He does so much.
Yeah, I know.
He covers up a lot of cracks.
Yeah, no, he does. Anyway, if you're tipping with your head, you tip Fremantle. I'll tip him with, some other motive. Brisbane Lions.
I'm tipping Fremantle.
Yep.
Let's see how it goes. Next game, Saturday afternoon, the Expansion Cup, Gold Coast against Greater Western Sydney. This one's up in Queensland, and we said it 6 or 7 weeks ago that this is the matchup of the two expansion teams of the most consequence. We can say it again now because this game really matters.
This is more consequence than the last big consequence.
Yep.
This one does, because Giants, actually, if they lose, they're in serious danger of missing the finals, aren't they?
Yes.
But I don't think they'll beat the Gold Coast. I think it'll be a really tight game. But I am backing the Gold Coast midfield, and their forward line to kick a big enough score to beat the Giants, who have just been a little bit off.
They're hot and cold. I just can't get a read on the Giants. Just when you think they're starting to play really good footy, then they get injuries and,
Stringers out.
Yeah, they're hot and cold in games. Like
I know.
That game against the Swans, beaten for a half and then won it in one quarter, really. My question about Gold Coast this week is that their record against the Giants is horrible.
Exactly.
They've won one of their last 15 against the Giants.
Is that right?
Does that make you?
No, exactly. That's roulette 101, mate. You got the red, so you put it on the black.
That's making me a little shaky about tipping Gold Coast. But I thought when they played in 6 or 7 weeks ago that they should have beaten the Giants.
Yeah, they should have.
They should have put them away early. And watching them last week, they're a very well organised team. I think they're good enough to win the premiership this year. I'm going to put it out there now. 2 games out from the end of the season. I reckon they're good enough to win it all.
They won't win the premiership.
Why not?
Because they're the Gold Coast.
Gun midfield.
We're all going to run on the ground.
We said the same thing about Richmond in 2017.
We'll tear the posts out.
Imagine if they won the flag before the Giants, given how well the Giants have gone.
Well, the Giants had their chance in 2016, and that was their chance, wasn't it? And, now
but
it's
they've had a few
even
chances
money.
since.
Gold Coast have been given a few handouts since then that have helped them. Good luck to them. They've done a hell of a lot of work, and all the people in that organisation are good football people that have done a great job. They've recruited well, and they've managed to hang on to their good players. But they've been helped to actually get them back into the pack.
The AFL need it to help them. Otherwise, what's the point of having a team up in Gold Coast if they're just going to bleed cash and not win games and take away from the integrity of the competition by being such a bad team?
They'll win on Saturday.
They will win.
And there'll be a top 4 spot, but they won't win the flag. It just can't happen.
I can see them. I think they're as good as any team left in it, so it would not surprise me.
How would you cope with that?
I wouldn't care. Song's a bit catchy. I don't know too many Gold Coast supporters, so it doesn't bother me.
No, they're all good points, except for the song being catchy. How do you reckon Snoop Dogg would go with that?
They should get him to do a rendition. Gold Coast.
Yeah, Gold Coast.
We're online all the time. Just search Age Real Footy on Facebook or Twitter.
Next game, Carlton against Port Adelaide, one of those dead rubbers, but an interesting game from a tipping point of view because I think I had a look before. I think we've only done about six of our tipsters have done their tips. It's 5 have tipped Port. I'm the only one who's tipped Carlton.
Yeah, well, I thought of tipping Carlton, and then I thought, they just didn't impress me enough last week against the Gold Coast. Although their last quarter comeback was good, and Port Adelaide, they played pretty well against Fremantle. Their backline of Lear was fantastic.
My man.
Yep. Mitch Georgiadis was reasonably average, and I reckon he'll have a good game against Carlton, even though he'll be matched up on Jacob Wiedering.
Who had a bad night out against Ben King.
No, he did. And I could see Willie Rioli causing some damage inside the Blues forward line, or back line, sorry. I just think they're going to be quicker at Marvel Stadium.
They've got a lot out as well, Port Adelaide. Both teams have a lot out.
Yeah.
I had a look. Initially, I thought, I'll tip Port because Carlton they're not going well. But then I had a look at Port's injury list. They've got a lot of very good players out.
Yeah, Horn Francis. Rosie.
Radagalier, who
Rosie's playing,
played an important role last time. Rosie will play, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Butters plays. They're pretty good players.
Sam Walsh might be back.
Well, that'd be great.
Good to see him play after a few months out. Yep. And they're playing for the Frankie Evans Cup.
Yeah, well, he was unbelievable. 4 goals.
was,
We
wasn't
love
he?
Frankie Evans.
He's shown
He's one of our favourites.
He's shown a lot of spirit.
Well,
Evans.
to be fair to Evans, and I know it's not the Frankie Evans show, though it should be, has he had a dip?
Oh, he's had a dip.
Absolutely. Yes.
He had a.
Thank you.
Yeah, his first half of the year was a bit patchy, but
Yeah, but he
since
was
come
wearing
back,
he was wearing the criticism not because of how
It was
he was
unfair.
playing, it was because
I don't think Carlton set him up to succeed early on in the season, picking him round 1 after he was the last player on the list.
No.
But his last month, I mean, he's shown his commitment in the way he plays.
Yeah,
Like,
and
he's
I
put his body on the line.
criticised picking up players like that, but I think he's been great.
He's better than the other small forwards in there, so
Yep.
deserves another contract.
I'm tipping Port Adelaide though.
I'm tipping Carlton only because it's a good one to make up. I like this round. There's opportunities to
Yeah,
get
there is.
tips back.
Yeah,
Could be
no,
in
they're
the lead by
handicap
the end of the
races,
round.
6-1 the field sort of stuff.
Yeah, Blues for me.
Port Adelaide,
Next game, Hawthorn against Melbourne at the MCG.
the Merger Cup.
29 years on.
There was a Saturday night at 1996 when they played that big game.
It was. I
Yeah.
remember running onto the field for Jason Dunstall's 100th
No,
goal.
I remember a mate of mine going and rocking up to a party later. Very happy.
Well, can Melbourne continue their form from last week and give Hawthorn a run for their money?
I think they can. Absolutely they can, but I still think Hawthorn will be too good. They're actually they showed what they're capable of.
That was their best performance of the year, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and you'd
They
think
were
they'll be able
clear.
to back that up against the Demons, who they lifted and played a really good style of footy. It was great to watch against the Western Bulldogs, but Hawthorn's a bit stiffer defensively, and I think they'll make them work a lot harder for their goals. So I think the Hawks will win.
Yeah, Stephen May back in will help the D's. Windsor and Lindsay out, which is a bit of a blow for Melbourne fans
Yeah,
wanting to
poor
see
old
their future.
Windsor did his hammy out on that wing right at the end.
Yeah, looked a bad hamstring as well.
Mm.
Tipping the Hawks, but I think Melbourne are one of those sides that against the really good teams, they've been very competitive.
No, they'll be okay. I mean, they've got Collingwood and Hawthorn this week, and then Collingwood in the final round, so they've got enough to get up for.
Mm. Next game, this is the best game of the round. Adelaide against Collingwood.
Is it?
Adelaide Oval. Oh, it is for me.
Why is that?
Oh, there's just so much riding on it for Collingwood,
Yeah, there is.
and the storylines are rich if they were to lose, and if they were to win, they're suddenly back in the premiership race.
Mm.
If they lose, then suddenly all the talk will be about will they make the 8?
I know. It's incredible, isn't it? Geez, they were terrible last week. How bad were they?
They were when they.
It was a 5-day break is the only excuse.
On top of a 6-day break as well
Yeah.
the week before.
They came to play, but they didn't come to, win, really. They rocked up and went through the motions. They need to get some forward power back, as in some connection with their forward line, because they're just not scoring when they go inside 50, and they're not putting their forwards in good positions.
They're not defending well either.
And because of that, the ball's bouncing out way too quickly, and players like Darcy Moore are struggling.
It reminded me a bit of that first month of their 2024 season last week, just seeing how disorganised they were. The ball was just bobbling around, and they were caught out of position.
Too slow.
Yeah.
They got beaten on the spread without any problem. I think they can bounce back and win.
Oh, it's a big call by you, Pete. How much of this is you think they'll genuinely win, or how much of this is I've got to make up a few tips?
No, I think they can genuinely beat Adelaide. I think Adelaide had a pretty average performance, which, is just a mulligan, and got the 4 points still against West Coast. Collingwood have had a freshen up. I know that they're still going to be missing Jeremy Howe, which is a huge loss.
Big loss, isn't he?
Adelaide missing Rory Laird, which is a reasonable loss, but not quite to the same extent. Collingwood match up well against Adelaide. They generally play well. They need to be able to quell Jordan Dawson, Isaac Rankin, probably the real threats, and Phil Thorpe.
Your man, the thriller. There's so many players in the Adelaide team who you think, you got to stop. But then comes a point where if you focus too much on their players, you don't play your own game.
No, I'm just saying that they're the only three. Who else?
Oh, anyone in their forward line? Rankin, Thilthorpe?
No, well, Rankin and Thilthorpe. Absolutely, those two.
Dawson?
Yeah, those three. That's the three I said.
There's another one we're missing. I like Fogarty as a player as well.
No, he's a good player for me. They're good players. They're all good players. I'm just saying they're not the massive threats. And Collingwood can, they need to get some sort of system around the Dacos brothers. Don't start him on the bench again.
Doesn't make a difference,
can't play more.
That Nick Dacos started.
Well, Collingwood was 2 goals down, so I think it did.
Yeah.
They didn't get a clearance, or they were running around with
Maybe
Ned Long and Tom Mitchell.
Is he sore?
Who?
This has got Collingwood's got a bit of the feels of what happened to Carlton last year, where they got themselves in a really good spot on the ladder and then just started tumbling for no reason.
No, that could be true. Who are you tipping?
I'm tipping Adelaide, but there's a few things that make me a little nervous about tipping Adelaide. They haven't beaten Collingwood since round 17 in 2016.
That's my point.
That's a long time ago. Collingwood have won 10, I think their last 10 at Adelaide Oval, but 6 of those games were by a goal or less.
Is that right?
Yeah, interesting stat.
Yeah.
Collingwood travel well, and they're one of those sides, with their backs to the wall, on the road. The Collingwood teams win a lot of those games, don't they?
Yeah.
But, without Jeremy Howe, they look slow.
Freshened up, though.
Yeah, freshened up. I think this game will tell us whether Collingwood are a contender, because there'll be no excuses.
No doubt about that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Hill and McCreary most likely will be back. What's your...
Possibly not Hill. McCreary is important, though, because they need speed, because otherwise Schultz is having to put forward pressure on, and there was just no forward pressure last week at all.
No, there's no pressure anywhere.
Yeah.
They were poor.
Yep.
But it wasn't a one-off in the last few weeks.
Seemed more angry than I've ever seen him.
He was, wasn't he?
Yep. And I think he'd been waiting to the moment to let the hammer fall, and I think he would have picked it last week. They signed Darcy Cameron, which was creating a bit of, chatter.
It's good PR by Collingwood. Get them
definitely
fans feeling a bit more united with the team, and
the players more united.
Yeah, the dressing room. Yeah,
absolutely. So look, it's going to be a tight game, and obviously Adelaide deserve to start favourites. I just think Collingwood, it is one of those games that they're famous for.
I'm tipping the Crows only because everything points to Adelaide winning. They're in better form, fewer injuries, and Collingwood's last win against the top 9 team was in May.
I know. I wrote that this week.
Long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't feel like it though.
Next game, Sunday footy. Ooh, this one's an interesting game. North Melbourne against Richmond. From a tipping point of view, this is very much a 50-50 game.
Do you really think so?
I think
surely North win this in Hobart.
Have you seen North's form recently? Lost 7 in a row by an average of 52 points. You can't back North Melbourne, can you?
I'm tipping North Melbourne with some confidence. Actually, they're my lock.
Oh, no.
They are my lock.
That's ridiculous.
They are the Hobart specialists down at whatever that arena's called.
They're not specialists anywhere, North Melbourne.
They're Arden Street specialists. Look, surely they're going to win a game. Surely they can beat Richmond. I watched them beat Richmond and play really poorly at the MCG earlier in the year.
They were going better.
That was when Toby Pink, played one of the greatest games I've seen from a defender this year. Took a couple of.
He had a good patch in June, didn't he?
He did.
Toby Pink.
He's a June specialist, and North Melbourne have a midfield that is up and coming. I know that Richmond have got Hopper and Taranto and so on, and they'll be smart enough for their loss to the Saints, but North Melbourne get the job done.
Oh, geez, that's bold. I'm tipping Richmond only because I think their older players are better. And North are young. Last week they had 12 players under 50 games.
I know.
And a lot of their experience is coming from 2 players, Parker and
Parker's
Darling.
been great.
Parker's been a great acquisition.
Yeah.
Darling's been okay.
Darling's been exactly what you would have hoped out of him.
Caleb Daniel's been a bit disappointing, I think.
Disappointing, yeah.
I think North probably thought they'd be getting a better play.
Daniel.
No, he'll probably be top 5
Griffin
in their best and
Logue
fairest.
And Zach Fisher.
Yeah, it's not.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't know how many of those guys will get a game this week, but I reckon Richmond, they've got the better older players. I think their effort's been better throughout the year than the last 2 months anyway. And you look at Taranto, Hopper, Lynch, Vlauston, Nankervis, Bolter. That's still a pretty solid core.
Yeah, but they're not
compared to
specialists
North
at Hobart.
Melbourne.
North Melbourne,
No, the one thing to watch, I've had a look at the weather forecast. If you win the toss, kick with the wind, because they're predicting the wind to change during the afternoon. So you don't want to have...
Gee, you go into some detail. Oh my God. What's happened to your tipping? How are you going so poorly, mate?
There's too much.
The wind is going to change, so we'll sweat on the toss. It's a really good tip there from you, Wooey.
Kick with the wind, because you might get it for 3/4 instead of...
That's fantastic. How good was that back in the day?
Yeah, well, it's what happens at Tasmania when... I don't like games where there's a whole heap of wind.
Yeah, so on that basis, really...
Anyway, I'm tipping Richmond.
Yeah, North Melbourne, if they win the toss. And kick with the wind. Is Trent Cotchin? No, he wouldn't go out for the toss, would he?
A friend of mine drove all the way from Melbourne for that final.
No.
Captain called the wrong way and he left before 3/4 time.
Fair enough. Sydney Geelong?
Yes.
Big
Next
game again.
SCG, yes. This is a very good game. I was, start of the week, I had the Swans circled, but then it was Brodie Grundy out and I thought, oh.
Yeah, Brodie Grundy's a big loss.
He's been very important to them.
Yeah.
So I'm tipping Geelong because he's out. But I wasn't impressed at all by how Geelong played last week.
No, you were down there. They were ragged, weren't they?
They were tired maybe, 5 day. They were off a 5-day break.
Yeah, they were.
So, but they still won by 44 points. They didn't look like losing the game.
No.
And they get a proper break.
And
this
without
week.
Dangerfield, they'll get him back.
Yeah. Jeremy Cameron, how many will he kick this week?
3.
So take him to 82. He's not going to get there, is he? Unless he gets a bag against Richmond. He needs a 9 or a 10 somewhere.
Yeah, no, it was good to watch last week, I've got to say.
He should have kicked 6.
Yeah, I know. Those last 2 will haunt him, potentially.
But I didn't think he played that well, and he should have finished with 6 goals.
No, he didn't play well at all. But he got 2 late chances. And when he did take that first mark, I was in the standing room and he kicked that goal from the boundary. The atmosphere was fantastic.
Oh, he got the loudest cheer.
Yeah, it was great.
Our producer was in there as well. He
was
giving me a nod and a smile.
He was up and about, as you would be. But it was good to watch, and I hope he gets on a bit of even if he gets on a bit of a turn and kicks 5 or 6, it'd be good to watch. I think they'll win, but I think this is clearly their toughest test in their last 5 weeks. So it'll be really good either way for a gauge on how they're actually tracking, and I think they're interested themselves.
A loss wouldn't be the end of the world.
Well, it would be because they need a top 4 and they'd ideally like a top 2 spot.
Well, they'll make the top 4 because they got Richmond in the final round, so they'd win that. It might cost them a home final somewhere, but
no, they'd much prefer a home final.
They won't get it in Geelong though.
No,
but they'd get an MCG qualifying final, maybe. I'm tipping the Cats.
Yeah, I'm tipping the
Close
Cats.
game.
Well, it will be a danger game, and if Heaney gets off the chain,
he has to have a big one. Yeah. So does Chad Warner, and probably someone else like a Callum Mills or Errol Gordon.
Yeah, they're back for their best, aren't they? Those guys.
Yeah, the last time Geelong have won at the SCG was 2019, so over Sydney. So that's a bit of a hoodoo.
Yep.
But this is probably one of the weakest Swans teams in that time. So
well, it was the ball didn't travel 15 metres that they should have got 1 year. Anyway, we won't dwell on that.
Okay, that's testing my memory. Final game of the round: Western Bulldogs against the West Coast Eagles.
Bulldogs
will win this. I'm going to bravely make them a lock.
Yeah, no, Bulldogs win this. If Bulldogs don't win this, what are you going to do?
Oh, I don't know. What will I do? You can.
I'm going to walk home from Marvel Stadium to Geelong on Sunday night.
Are you covering that game?
Yep.
Imagine if they lost. That would be a terrible result for Bulldogs out of the finals, losing the West Coast.
I'm going to row my boat.
Second time in 3 years that would be the case.
That's right. No, Bulldogs easily.
Yep. Give me a margin.
64 points.
Yeah, I'll go 10 goals. I jokingly wrote 200 points in my notes.
No, that's silly.
Okay, that's all we got time for today. Thanks for joining us. You can see the rest of the experts' tips at theage.com.au/AFL. Make sure to subscribe, rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to get in touch with us, send an email to realfootypod@theage.com.au. We'd love to hear from you. Podcast will return on Monday. Thanks for listening, and may your team win.